Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Great Awakening Generator. I'm your host, Rose McNair, and today I have with me Barbara Starke, or Barb. Hello, Barb.
Hi. Hi, Rose.
How
Thanks
are
for
you?
having me here.
You're very welcome. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. I'm doing well, and I'm always delighted to be speaking about tapping. I love to share the word.
That's good. That's good. So, everyone, Barbara is from empoweryou.co.nz, right? And I thought it would be great to have her on board to talk about her offering to the collective because I was quite fascinated with the EFT option that she had. Now, I'm jumping ahead of myself because I'm already telling you about what she has. I want us to get to know Barb a little bit more. And so I'll ask you, Barb, to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm pretty much your standard Kiwi. I was born in Auckland, born and bred in Auckland. I was schooled here, spent a little bit of time in Australia. I come from a trauma background, as a lot of people do. My dad, I don't like to talk badly about people, but I also do like to be honest. So my dad had an alcohol problem and he was violent. It was a violent relationship my mum and dad had. So I had quite a bit of trauma growing up that surfaced, later in life as a teenager and these sorts of things. I completely lacked confidence, even though people thought I didn't because I was the comedian and the chameleon. And so that was a big thing for me to overcome. So I guess my journey has been in a lot in working through that. So I started, my dad was against psychology. I would have loved to have studied psychology, but I didn't because I was a people pleaser. So I traveled the path. I went sort of into the corporate world and traveled that capitalistic world for a while. But at the same time, I was doing meditation and yoga and things like that. And I came across tapping later in life. But to give you an idea, I've got my books here, my favorite books. And this one's called Hands of Light by Barbara Brennan. I probably read that in my late teens. And then, of course, Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman and M. Scott Peck, The Road Less Traveled. So I suppose those were turning points for me and gives you an indication of the journey that I've traveled to get to where I am.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I live rurally with I've got 2 adult sons and a husband, married, and animals and things.
So you're living the life and living life with nature. Because I noticed that when you on your website you were talking about your life and you talked about your family. And I always say living the life because I believe it is living the life if you can have a piece of land somewhere and you live in rural or in farming community and you can be a lot more in nature than being in suburbia or in the big city. So I think that is living the life. I really love it when people are doing that because I have a desire for that too myself. And in a few years' time, that's probably going to be the case. So I'm glad that you shared that with us because it also says the platform you operate from because I think it's when we are in tune with nature, we automatically something changes when we are conscious of the life around us, life besides our lives, life and natural things that are happening. Yes. So I'm going to go straight into it and ask you. So your business is called empoweryou.co.nz. What is it? What is empoweryou.co.nz?
Well, empoweryou.co.nz is a platform for people to grow and learn from. So I use a number of modalities. So that's why I'm not sort of just called Barbara Starke Tapping, because I bring in a number of modalities, the main ones being EFT. I'm trained in neural linguistic programming, and I use that a lot for success coaching. So we do goal setting. They have fantastic goal setting techniques, and I do a combination of that with tapping to remove the blocks as well. I also bring in breath work. I do a bit of heart math breathing, so that we all know now, a lot of people know that we've got a brain in our heart and our head brain, and that they're connected. So that's all about heart-brain coherence and bringing those two together. So I do breathwork, NLP, and tapping. I'm also trained in a few other modalities one of them being optimal EFT, which is more energy work. It all comes under the energy psychology bracket.
Yes.
And so I bring those into my sessions a lot as well. So Empower You is about looking at the past, looking at the being in the here and now, but also aiming at the future, know where we're heading for, and if you like, programming that in.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful explanation. That was a really simple, easy to understand explanation. And you've got so many offerings that you have for the collective. Now, I have to ask, I know you told us a little bit about your history, but I want to ask, how do you come to do this? How do you come to this place of, because you talked about being in the corporate world and doing that. And of course, we can't talk about our history in 3 minutes and give the whole story. So how is it that you come to a point of saying, okay, I want to work more in the energy space or in the esoteric space? And what makes you that? Because you started doing this in 2013, right? From what I read. So
yep, that's when I sought out tapping. I guess like through my early years, I did have a bit of counselling and that sort of thing, and had great effect from that. And I've always been one to be working on myself, trying to be aware of myself. And I guess in 2013, I came into tapping because I sought it for working on myself. And that was, I started off actually with the Tapping Solution, who have done a great job in promoting EFT and introducing it to people. So I bought one of their programs, and that was to do with finances, because I used to go through the boom and bust all of the time, and that's not a good place to be.
No.
So I bought one of their programs and I started running it, and I just started behaving differently.
Okay.
My husband and I had a conversation about money, and I said something. I said, where did that come from? That is not the sort of thing that I would say. So I thought, something to this tapping.
Yes.
And then I was having trouble with grief with one of my pets that needed to be put down, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I sought out tapping, and I went for the expert in Auckland, Liz Hart. She was a trainer in EFT. So I sought her out and went and started having sessions with her. And it's probably, I ended up training just from going to see Liz. Okay. So then I started my training. And I can go into more detail later on if you like,
yes,
about
of course. Yes,
ways
we'll be speaking specifically
that it's helped me.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm hearing is meditation is the start of the journey in this, because you talked about meditation when you've gone through your teenage years and after having trauma of the childhood that you had grown up in. I think meditation is the gateway to many things, right? When you talk to people, it always seems to be that breathing and the meditation that is the gateway. Do you find that?
Definitely those different brain states. I actually do Joe Dispenza's meditations a lot now. In fact, I do them daily.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm still meditating. Yeah, definitely a gateway.
Yeah, I think that neuro-linguistic programming or people that do this do come into Dr. Joe Dispenza's space. He's one of my favorite people on the planet, by the way. And I spoke to another lady. Dr. Joe has got a consultant here in New Zealand for his business, first consultant, Dr. Joe Dispenza's consultant here. And I had an interview with her maybe 3 months ago. And she mentioned heart math for the first time. And you're the other person now that talked about heart math. I've not heard about it before. And so really, and now you mentioned Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it seems like people that are into neuro-linguistic programming, because a lady that I did Psyche with mentioned Dr. Joe Dispenza with me years ago, maybe 2016. I was doing some Psyche with someone called Jackie. Can't remember her surname now. And she basically introduced me to him, and he gives you breakthroughs, doesn't he, in the meditations?
What's that? Sorry?
He gives you breakthroughs in your meditations. When you do a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation, you have breakthroughs.
Absolutely.
Shifting, big moves is what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Joe Dispenza is great friends with Greg Braden.
That's right.
Who's a scientist as well, and he's one of the guys that set up Heart Math.
Oh,
so
right.
Definitely very linked in their thinking.
They certainly are. I mean, and Dr. Bruce Lipton, they're like the trio, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and I listen to Greg Braden's podcasts a lot. So yeah, we have been they are just amazing teachers, and thank God for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in this time and space. But all right, we digress, and I don't want to take the attention away to you, to these other. You're incredible in what you're offering, and so are they. But you are the person we're focusing on today, and I want to bring it back. But I think it's great that we mentioned them, because that we kind of led to that pathway, because it's for our audience. It's important that they see the authenticity of the platform in which you operate in, because it shows that you're not, that you have done your work, and it's serious work that you've done to bring this offering. And it's an amazing offering. I have not done tapping with anybody in New Zealand before. I have not heard anybody come up and talk about tapping so easily. And that's not to say it's not happening. Obviously, I just haven't met anybody, and you're the first person that said it out there, and I thought, right, we got to have you on the channel. So, so before we carry on and to talk about the EFT or tapping, tell us. So you talked about. Have you told us everything about what you offer? Is there something more I have to ask through the Empower You?
I also do crystal bowls, sound baths.
Oh.
And at the moment, I'm learning African drumming and shamanic drumming to bring into my sound baths. So that's, and that's sort of my hobby, and I do it myself because you feel so good yourself, you do it when you do it. So that's my next sort of little thing. I do offer quite long sessions that involve tapping and a sound bath. And through the sound baths and everything, we're doing chakra balancing.
Great.
So yes, I offer that as well.
Where do you operate from, and how do you operate?
For the tapping and NLP and things like that, a lot of my work now is online, and that's in effect from the last 3 or 4 years. But I also do one-on-ones in person, and I do those at my home here in Drury. I'm happy to look at venues and things. We're also at the moment in a community group that we set up. We're starting to run pop-ups similar to PHA, and it may evolve into that. Okay. So I'm putting out flyers and things for that as well.
Okay, wonderful. Wow. That's such an amazing thing to be doing. Wow. And especially the shamanic drumming.
Yeah.
It's becoming quite popular amongst energy healers and esoteric teachers. Yeah. I've just been speaking to so many people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another portal into a different brain state as well, and a great lead into meditation and to the sound bath.
Yeah, that's right. Indeed. So where can you be contacted?
Through my website, empoweryou.co.nz. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Telegram. Email barb@empoweryou.co.nz. And then my mobile number's on my website as well.
That's great. That's great. So we will put all of that in the description box for people to be able to find as well when this goes, when this gets published. So the topic that we really want to talk about today, and thank you for giving us such a good explanation. Was there anything more you wanted to tell me about empoweryou.co.nz before we go to EFT?
No, I think we've just about covered everything from Empower You.
Great.
Thank you.
So EFT, tell me, what is EFT? Because you're an EFT practitioner.
Yeah, EFT practitioner, that's my official name. So it's the proper term is emotional freedom techniques.
Okay.
EFT, and commonly known as tapping.
Okay.
So tapping is a stress reduction technique. That's what it's known as. And tapping is also so much more than that as well. So we actually tap on stress points in the body, or acupressure points. And these, in effect, send calming signals to the brain while we're doing that. They've proven that. Peter Stapleton, who is Associate Professor at Bond University in Australia, is doing a lot of studies now. So they're doing MRI scans and things, which are actually proving what we've known for some time, which is just amazing. So EFT is somatic. It works in the body. So our body, you may have heard now, our body tells our story. Our body talks to us. So we work somatically, is that we will go into the body and find out what's happening in the body. And sometimes we don't even have to know the story of what we're working on, because the body talks to us so we can release it through the body. So somatically, it works cognitively. So a lot of the time we'll tell the story and we'll say what's happening. So Bruce Lipton, epigenetics, has proven now that it has been shown that after an hour of tapping, 72 genes change their expression, which means we're working at a cellular level.
Yes.
We're doing epigenetic work.
Yes.
So we do that with tapping as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's polyvagal work. So you may have heard of fight, flight, flop, and freeze, those states.
Yes.
So we are bringing people out of those states into the present as we're releasing trauma. So, and I think that's why it covers such a broad range of things. We can't fix broken bones, definitely cannot. We can pretty much have a go at anything else, because everything in our life has an emotional aspect to it. And by releasing that emotional aspect, we can release the attachment to it.
Yeah. I think indirectly we can fix broken bones, as in what is behind breaking a bone. That
we can help the healing. We can help the healing.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I say that because I had a broken bone a couple of years ago, and I'm finding through the journey that there's something behind it that is emotional, and there's trauma behind breaking a bone in your body. We don't realize it, but there is trauma. There's pent-up trauma in it. But I mean, you know more about that than I do. So, but I've discovered this through my journey in it, I didn't think about that before. Yeah. So, wow, tapping, it sounds very simple. You just tap, and tapping is something you tap. You just do that, don't you? Like tap.
Yeah,
right?
You literally tap on parts of your body. It is as simple as that. And anybody can learn to do it. And I would love everybody to be doing it.
Okay.
And for the smaller stuff. For the bigger stuff, I recommend that you work with a practitioner if you're going into deep stuff that might have trauma underneath it.
Yeah.
Either a qualified EFT practitioner or someone who's qualified to work in that space with you doing tapping.
Yeah. I mean, I would.
Everyone.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, it can be used just as a calming technique.
Yep.
So every day, if you're say you're watching the news or a horror movie, if you're into that sort of thing, something frightening, if you tap while you watch it, you're also calming your system, so it won't have that effect on you. You won't lose sleep. If you're like me, I can't watch horror movies because I wake up at night.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So if you're tapping whilst you're doing something like that, or if someone's giving you bad news, if you tap while you're doing that, it lessens the impact of it and it calms your system.
So here's my question. Now that you were doing that, and you're doing that, and you're doing that, and you did that, so when we tap, is it that we tap, like if you were tapping that above the lip, upper lip, right, then I would be tapping that for a specific thing? So what I'm asking, I guess, is, do we tap certain spots on the body to release certain things? Like if I was watching that horror movie and I didn't want it to affect me, would I just be doing that? Or so a tapping point specific to an emotion or a situation? So
to answer your question, yes. But having said that, we generally don't direct people to tap on certain points because it's not my role to diagnose. So yes, each tapping point is linked to different emotions and to different organs in your body. And I can give people charts, identifying that. But what happened is, it used to be thought field therapy, and they would set up different routines for different problems, but that was very time consuming. So Gary Craig, who developed tapping as we do it now, he put together a set algorithm. So we tap a set routine, and this routine covers every organ in your body, every emotion that you feel. So we know that if we tap this routine, we've got everything covered. Having said that, you don't need to tap all of those points all of the time to get the same effect. It's just the easiest way to get routine about it and do it.
Yeah. So coming back to talking about tapping for oneself, I agree with you that people, you can do a regular routine of tapping, but I think if you're dealing with deep childhood trauma, really deep-seated stuff, it is better to work with a practitioner, because sometimes it's, you can help yourself to a point, but there comes, if we're not professionals in something, then perhaps we need that professional's help with somebody who's regularly doing it. And let's face it, we are coming into a time where all of this is coming to the forefront as ways to keep oneself well, ways to heal. Sitting down and talking to a psychiatrist, or lying on a couch in a psychiatrist or a psychologist's office, is not the only option to relieve trauma, because sometimes you can do that for 20 years and still not be coming through whatever you need to. And we're starting to identify that there's all these other things that can help us. So I'm just finding this to be really fun and exciting to know that all of these things are coming to the forefront. And you will have been doing this for a long time, knowing of certain things for a long time. Are you finding that now is where people are more accepting of all these I don't like the word alternative, but let's say all these other ways of healing?
Yes, I think they are, to answer you. I think people are coming around to the ways we used to do things, which is what's happening, with naturopathy, with a lot of things. These are things that happened in the past that are just being renewed now. And point in case with tapping, there's a lot of points that we go to naturally. Like this one here is actually for anxiety. And quite often, when you get a fright, you grab yourself here. Or people pick their fingernails, and we've got points around our fingernails. So there's a lot of stuff we do naturally. And yes, people are more open. I think people are looking for alternatives. There's sort of full respect for Western medicine. I don't want to knock that at all.
No,
but
we don't discredit
people are also looking at preventing themselves from having to medicate, if you like.
Yes.
And so they're going for all the natural type therapies first.
Yes.
And there's definitely more of an openness to it, and people seeking it out. And seeking to help themselves as well.
I think it's an okay thing to say, I don't want to do medication. I don't. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid in 2013, but I don't do the medicine. I didn't initially, and then when I got really sick, I thought, all right, let me just give in to my doctor, my rheumatologist's request to take it. And then I had an allergic response to the medicine. And so it was like really quickly that I had an allergic response. And that was telling me that I probably shouldn't do it. I probably didn't go into it with the right mindset for it. And this is why I'm having a response like that. And I came off it. And then he was talking about going into something even more intense, something called methotrexate. And there is no way I'm doing that medicine. I've seen what it does to people, and I'm not doing it. And I have not gone on methotrexate since. So I choose to do things like yoga, meditation, and my diet, because I've identified my diet, for example, affects my joints. So I'm one of those people. Yeah.
And isn't it fantastic that these other remedies do work? You can...
Absolutely fantastic. And they have equal value. What is deemed to be alternative medicine has equal value as what we call Western medicine. They always had. We just, some regulation was passed, and I think after just before the First World War, that changed all of that, is what my understanding is, when they decided to go more clinical rather than holistic. And so they cut out everything that was herbal, or acupuncture, and all those things were not on the forefront. So we are now bringing it back, because the demand of it is the people speak. When people want more of it and make choices for themselves, then we bring it back, don't we? That's what I'm finding. Yeah.
Yes.
So my question about it is, I know you've said that it supports people in terms of if they're stressed. Does it bring healing to the body? Like if I had a cold, could I tap somewhere in my body and then relieve myself of the cold?
Yes, although from a meta health point of view, the cold is actually a healing phase. You've come through the stress, and it's like your body's letting go, and that's the healing phase. So it's
Ah,
more supporting yourself through that phase. Like that's a time when you want to be allowing your body to get all those toxins out, which is, the mucus and all of that sort
I
of
know,
thing.
and the sneezing and all of that. Oh, and runny eyes. Oh, I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, but definitely, like if I've got a cold, I use tapping to relieve the symptoms and to increase my energy levels and those sorts of things. And if I am having negative thoughts, and releasing those, which helps the healing, it can speed it up.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, why would anybody come to you for this treatment? I think you already told us. It's another way of treatment. Then it's another way. There's so many treatments you could take, but you could do tapping, and you could work on your work with tapping to relieve stress and trauma and stuff like that, right? I don't think that it's as simple as that. I think when I say that, what I mean is for somebody who's got deep-seated trauma from childhood will have to do work with you for probably a few sessions, right? So how does that work? If I were to come to you and I said, I've got this deep trauma, or I feel a block, I feel stuck, and I feel like I can't move forward, what would you say to me?
Okay, so yeah, deep trauma, it is specific to every person, and we all process things differently. So the amount of trauma you've had may not influence how quickly it's healed. More, it's how quickly we get to the source of the trauma. And so if you came to me and say, this happened to me, I know it happened, I've got this big event, and I want to clear it, I know it's holding me back, I'll probably say, well, allow 6 sessions. We may not use them all. We may use more, but if I gave you that as an allowance, that gives us the room to move. We may, I like to do more than one session because I like to catch up with the person again to make sure how it's processing, and also to check that we've cleared everything. So if we cleared it in one session, I will probably recommend a follow-up. Sometimes we do it in 3 sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably the more complicated stuff is when we're working on core beliefs. Like if someone came to me and said, I have no confidence. Okay, so that's more general. That's what we call a tabletop. So under that belief are a lot of little events, maybe some big ones that are supporting that belief. So what we need to go is we need to go and clear those events. We don't need to clear all of them. They might have 20. We might need to clear 4 of those events. And then that belief collapses and they reframe and they start thinking differently about themselves. So it depends on the work that we're doing. With phobias, I've cleared phobias in 1 session.
Yes.
Sometimes with body pain, sometimes we can help that quite quickly, but then again, it depends on the person and what's happened.
Yeah.
I hope that's clear enough.
It makes a lot of sense to me. It is clear. I think it's always individualistic. And all of us are different. You have 2 people that might have gone through the same experience, but each one has a different response or reaction to that experience. We know this. And so it's like 2 children growing up in a family where the father is an alcoholic. And I say that not because of what you were saying about yourself earlier, but I'm using it as an example because, and I don't know if you have siblings and you find that maybe your trauma is different from your siblings' trauma, or the way your siblings turning out and living life and being successful is different from the way you are. And I'm in the same situation, and I say that because I feel like I look at my siblings and I think, wow, they're so amazingly successful. The things they succeed at, I dream of. And I think, well, what's going on in my world but these very 2 people that our parents were the ones that brought us up, and they, they brought us up, and I won't go into it, but definitely there's childhood trauma on my end for various things, but like still the basics were there. So why am I not basically the same as my other siblings? And that's because I'm an individual and my responses are different. So yeah, I feel that there's never a thing where you can say everybody's going to have 6 sessions. it's always going to be, what do you need? Where are you at? How much work have you done already? What's the programming like? So it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
So there was a question that came up and it's just gone out of my head. Because, we sort of went in different directions with it, but I mean, we're talking about the tapping and I'm just loving what you're saying.
You're absolutely right. I was just happened to be listening to Gabor Mate last night, and he was saying that children born to the same parents, no one person has the same upbringing, because it's different. They're a sibling. They might have two siblings above them, and their parents are at different stages in their life when they're parenting and different stresses and things.
Yeah. And I mean, if you believe, go on, sorry.
Like you're saying, we are individual.
Yes, we are. And I mean, if you believe in soul contracts, and if you believe in each soul has come here to fulfill its purpose and to take the journey, and that we choose the families we come into before we are born, then that thing of what these two parents that brought up these 5 kids, you'd expect everything to be the same with all 5 kids, goes out the window, doesn't it? Because we're we're having our own experience. We are souls incarnating here on the planet to fulfill the journey that the soul needs to take at this point in time.
If I may, there is one thing about tapping that people always say, because with tapping, like you hear about positive affirmations, and a lot of people use positive affirmations, which are great. But with tapping, they say, why do you talk about the negative all of the time? Because we focus on the negative when we're tapping. And just to explain the reason for this, we're working with the unconscious mind. So the unconscious mind is that negative voice that's saying, you're no good, you can't do that. Why did you say that? And so what we actually want to do is we want to align with that negative voice and agree with it. And by agreeing with it, it actually quietens it down. And it's sort of like, if you've got a stabbing pain in your back, if I'm tapping with you and saying, oh, my back's fine, I've got no pain at all, well, my back's going to say, and the pain's it's going to make it worse until you listen to it. But if we tap and we say, this deep stabbing pain in my back, this deep stabbing pain in my back, it will actually help to release it. And then, so we do the negative. It's like, when you do a garden, you've got to pull the weeds first before you can plant the veggies or the flowers. So that's what we do. We take out the negative and then reframe with the positive.
Oh, awesome. That is great, because you're right. You can't, it's like when you've got stabbing pain and you're telling yourself, there is no pain in my body. Right away, your ego, the voice within your head says, that's not true.
No, that's not true.
Can you feel that pain? It's not true. Exactly. So it's contrary, isn't it? It's going against what is actually happening in the now. Interesting. So is there anything else? I'm looking at all the questions that I've written down. Is there anything else? Oh, no, I have something else. So, earlier when you said that you did tapping for financial situation. So are there, I guess I come back to this and I'm asking this question. I probably asked this question. I remember asking this question about specific tapping for specific things. But let me ask this. Are there specific routines that you have for specific things? Like, do you have a routine to tap when you are wanting to clear the blocks in your mind about financial abundance?
Not specifically.
Okay.
Because it depends on what we're thinking and what's happening. So I think routine tapping can help.
Yes.
But I don't think it's the solution. I think you need to get specific to what it is for you.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is it's very much about the points you tap and the words you say.
Yes. So the points we tap are always the same. The words we say may vary.
Okay. Based on what it is that you're trying to, for want of a better word, clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it's the same thing. If we attune to our negative thoughts and accept them, they'll go.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Do you find that tapping, how quickly can somebody have a result from tapping?
Very quickly.
Okay.
Some people can have a result very quickly, and it doesn't always happen that way.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
So I wish I could say, bang, everyone gets cured in 10 minutes.
It's
not quite
about,
that.
yeah. It's about the individual again. It comes back to that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about the history or what the soul's, what the individual has to learn in this.
Yeah. For your
in
question
this space.
about whether there's a routine or not, I suppose there's specific things that we would explore, like what are your money beliefs? What were your parents like with money?
Yeah.
What do you feel like when you have money in your wallet? If you have cash in your wallet, do you find you have to give it away? So
Yeah.
we would ask many questions,
Yes.
and then that's what we would work with.
Okay. All right. That's really good, because I remember when I went to Jackie, we talked about these things, like we did talk about money blocks, and we did talk about relationship stuff, because I was going through something at the time, and I couldn't seem to move away from a relationship that had ended. Emotionally, I felt quite stuck. But yeah, it makes sense. So a tapping session, like you say, it depends on the individual, but with tapping, if you did tapping, would it be 6 sessions that you would allow for as well?
Yes,
Okay.
it depends. I will book single sessions. I prefer not to, but I will book single sessions.
Mhm.
If I'd rather some people got the help from that one session than not help at all. From a practitioner point of view, I like the 6 sessions. 3 is the minimum, 6 because it means that I'm not under pressure to try to, because a lot of clients will come and say, I want to be fixed now. And it's sort of like, well, we've got to see how it goes.
Yeah, I have to say this, from having gone to practitioners myself, because I've been doing this for a while now, where I do go to energy healers for certain things, because I know that, I have blocks. I've been working through my blocks for a long time. That if you expect to go in, initially, I remember people referring me to somebody, and I would think, okay, right, so we're going to do this one session, and afterwards I'll see what happens. Will I come out all right? And I've come to realize through this that depending on what it is that you are going to, what type of practitioner you're going to, you cannot expect that the first session will be the one that is the beginning and the end of everything. And because we have a lot of us that do this, we've got a lot of trauma we're carrying from childhood, from past lives, from whatever. And so it's not going to happen overnight necessarily, depending. Again, you could go to a medium and have a reading, and that would be okay for one time, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But if you go to somebody where you're trying to deal with trauma, blocks you have, that you're feeling stuck and you can't actually go through this. And I'm saying all of this because I know you know this, but I'm saying all of this for the benefit of our audience.
Yeah.
Expect that you're gonna maybe need more than one session, and it's a normal thing, because you just cannot, in 1 hour or 2 hours, you cannot be fixed for the last 35, 60 years or whatever, however old you've at that point that you go to a practitioner. But yeah, 6 sounds really good. I think minimum 3, maximum 6 is good, because
and that's it exactly. When you think, if you've had like early childhood trauma, and it may not be big, it might be the teacher said something negative to you at school and you took on a belief that I'm not good enough. But that when you weigh up the effect of that on your life, like over 20 years, to put 6 hours work into releasing that is not so much time, really.
No, it isn't. It isn't. And I will say this, because I've heard that from teachers. I've heard that from parents.
Yeah.
And I've had like times where, why can't you be more like your sister? Stuff like that. Or, oh, you're not going to amount to much, are you? Because you're not doing it like her, kind of thing. And so for me, I took years to get through that, and in some ways I still am not in there. I'm still not through that, because I spoke to Mom the other day, and she was telling me about my sister, whom I was always compared to, and she was telling me about, oh, she's got these amazing berries in her garden, like she's got blueberries, and she's got the cherry tree, and she's got, and I was like, and I was listening to it, because I don't have any contact with a sister of mine, not because I choose to, but because she chooses not to have contact. And I was listening to it, and something popped into my head, and I thought, I have been trying for such a long time to have the space for a cherry tree. And I do have a cherry tree in the front garden. And you know what cherry trees are like in Auckland. You can only get a flowering one, or you can get one that does give you fruit, but it doesn't go to full size because of the climate. But I have been wanting all these berry bushes and like blueberries and whatever. And it's interesting to note this thing that I really want. My sister has and I don't have. It's the sneaky thought turned up.
Yeah.
It turned up.
That it affects you.
And I just thought, oh my gosh, a rose. I'm not unhappy for my sister. I'm glad she's got it. I'm glad she's living the dream. But I just thought, there you go, Mom. This is a dream I've been having for the last 5 years, to have and I thought, oh, stop that, but it's just like, Mom was not meaning anything. She was just telling me we were talking about fruit, and she'd got some kumquats from my sister, and she said the kumquats were looking more like mini oranges than they were looking the size of kumquats, and she thought that was strange, and they're not tasting normal. So something's happening in the environment, and that's how I get to hear about all the berries and the cherries. But digress. But I'm saying that it takes a long time to work through that, and I've done my work. But yeah, I had one conversation, and that thought popped into my head. It's like, okay.
That it's still having an effect on you, that's an indicator that there might still be something there
to work on. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not about her. It's not about her at all. It's not about my sister. It's about me, and that I still have some blocks from having grown up with that, or something, carried some trauma from constant comparing and being told you're never going to be good enough to have the cherry tree in the garden, or the berries. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so it's interesting. But yeah, a lot of work we've done and we've gone through. And like I say, there's a lot of people, like I was awakening to this about myself, and that I needed to deal with it for a long time. But I actually did something about it 2015, 2016. I started taking the journey. And now there's a lot of people on the planet that are walking around like me, and require this, right? You're finding we want to live our best life, don't we?
Well, I believe that's why we're here, to be the best versions of ourselves, and to help others to be the best version of themselves.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Exactly. That is why we're here. In the words of Abraham Hicks, life's supposed to be fun. And the journey to life being fun is also fun. And we've got to just be open about it, and accept we have trauma, accept, hey, that horrible thing happened and I'm not quite over it. And that, it happened to a few of us, but my response to it was different from other people's. Mine might have been more intense. It might have hit nerves I didn't know I had, that kind of thing. And so this is the time. This is the time to be easy and to be accepting and doing it. This is why we are talking to Barb today, because she's offering something to all of us that can help you transition through the processes. Yeah. So we've lived in a very wounded world, haven't we?
We have.
World of denial, you think?
Yes, and I think it's lovely that we are more open now, and people are more accepting that it's okay to have had trauma, and it's okay to admit that, to work through it.
Yes.
And then to experience the relief out the other side, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we lived in such a judgmental society about this not so long ago, and now it's okay to say to people, oh yeah, I had that, but I've done work, and it's different now.
Exactly. And I want to say to everybody, don't feel like you cannot function because you might have some trauma, or you still hold things. I have been, like, I just mentioned something about myself and put myself out there a little bit with what I said about myself, right? But I have not, let me say it the other way. I have done all that I can do in my world. I've taken my power, and I've made sure that I have my successes, and I can be the best that I can be. And Bob, so have you. You've done the same thing too, because you had a background, and look at how far you've come and what you're doing and what you're offering. Sometimes it takes being in situations like that to become who we are and offer these things to people, so that we empathize more. We understand where they're at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you find that that is apt for your journey? And
absolutely. I mean, I won't go into it now, but I've used tapping for so many different things to overcome so many different things. And that's like at the beginning of my tapping journey, I wasn't nearly aware of all of that. But having come through it all, yes, and that I guess that's why you can see and help people with so many different things, whether it be pain, whether it be grief,
yes,
whether it be low self-esteem, fear of speaking, I've worked through all of that, being a bad parent, thinking you're a bad parent, or
yeah,
relationship difficulties, the lot. I've just
or even to this day, I think about that. I'm a bad parent. I've been a bad parent, and I've got an amazing child. But sometimes the conversations make me think, ooh.
yeah.
But I've also remembered this, and I'll say this. I have done as parents, we did parenting with what we knew and had at that time to the best of our abilities. And so we've got to be easy about that, because now, if you reflect on it, now, okay, maybe that was not such a good decision to make or such a good way to go. I probably shouldn't have said this, but where's the handbook to parenthood?
Exactly.
Who gave it to us? I don't know. We've been programmed it should be a certain way, and we found that some of that programming actually is irrelevant for this day and age because of how humanity has evolved. So no, be okay. If as a parent, I'm just going to say, I'm starting to take responsibilities for the fact that I'm no longer that parent doing that thing that I can be accused of being bad for anymore.
Yeah, I think it's important to be kind and gentle with yourself and acknowledge your intention, and that we all do the best that we can at the time with the knowledge that we've got.
Yeah. And you cannot say, you can say sorry because you feel sorry, because I feel sorry and I feel sad that I couldn't have done better. But there's only so much you can say. The child that's involved in it, and I'm just making a general statement here. I'm not saying this is my child, but if children are holding trauma from things that you did, and that, because these days the issues that kids have, that they're different from the ones we had, but if they're holding trauma that they are empowered to fix and change, given what we all have, that is then up to them to fix and change, because you are that open parent that is ready to talk about stuff. So I feel like that's a necessary thing to say.
One of the biggest things with trauma is what happens after the trauma. If you get support afterwards, quite often you don't need therapy.
No.
If you're unsupported afterwards, and then it sticks.
Yeah.
So as a parent, like you say, if you apologize and
and just remember that that is the past. You're not doing that now. That's the important thing. And if both parties realize that, then that's the first step to moving forward. When you realize, okay, that was then, this is now, we're not doing that anymore. What are we going to do now to say, well, we're getting through that thing that's still coming back and haunting us now, yet it's over, it's done, So is there anything else you want to tell us? Because I know you're going to do a short practical thing with me.
I'll just quickly, I also do matrix reimprinting, which is a tapping technique, but with matrix reimprinting, we're allowed to, it's a gentle way to go back more easily. So I do past life work with matrix reimprinting. I do work in this lifetime, but also in the womb. I've worked with babies in the womb with matrix reimprinting. So that's as much depth as I'll go into about that, but just that there are tools to heal those wounds, past life and early life wounds as well.
Wow, that is so awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That is really amazing. Wow. And that's good. I saw that. I forgot to mention the matrix imprint, and I saw that on the website, matrix imprinting, and I've never heard of matrix imprinting before. Wow. But it is intricate, and it is amazing that we have these capabilities, or we have come to realize we can do these things. We can go back. I go back into the pre-birth space to bring to clear karma for people from the esoteric point of view. And I've only ever discovered that about myself in the last, say, I don't know, 12 months. But I do it with my light language, and I do it with my guides. I have two really, really, really tall, white flowing garments, tall, formal guides that take me in, and we do it. I've only just discovered, like I say, but something as intricate as what you're talking about, there's science behind it.
Yeah, there is.
And that's like high class, man.
Thanks.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Work.
Yeah. Now, for me, it's always about esoteric, and I don't have the science theory behind it, but you have, and I just think, well, big respect to you for doing such things, because we need to be able to have practitioners who are doing stuff like that go beyond the normal and do things like, beforehand, during, and then post birth, whatever the age is. Okay. Anything else before we do that practice?
I think that's something today.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So, Barb, are you going to do this practice? How do you feel? Don't feel.
I'm absolutely fine.
Okay,
yes, we
great.
just do a few minutes with you.
Okay,
so you mentioned earlier that you had low energy levels. Is that what you wanted to work on?
Yeah, this week I had some low energy. I just felt really tired this week, and I haven't felt that way in a long time. Almost like I don't feel like getting out of bed, and yeah. So I should be grounded. I should be my feet flat on the ground.
Yes. Yep, that's fine. So this tiredness, like with tapping, we rate things with 10 being you're absolutely exhausted, you couldn't be more tired, and 0, you're not tired at all. So what intensity would you put on your tiredness at the moment?
I would put the intensity of 7 on it.
Okay, cool. And so that tiredness, is that a whole body tiredness, or is it in specific areas of your body?
I think it's perhaps it's a mental space, because it's just like I just want to keep sleeping. I'm wishing to keep sleeping. I just want to keep sleeping. I want to keep on sleeping. So I think it's mental.
Sleeping, yep. Yeah. You're not feeling tiredness in your body at all?
I feel a lot of pain in my body because I have inflammation in my body, but I don't have tiredness in the body. I think it's just the mind space.
Okay, cool.
Do you know how you have this space of, I don't feel like getting out of bed this morning. I just want to stay here and lie here. And yeah.
Okay, cool. So usually I do teach people the tapping points and things like that. But today I'll just get you to follow me. So what we do is we tap. So just tap gently on the side of the hand.
So I'm any specific hand?
No, you can use either hand, or you can use both hands. It doesn't matter. So, and that's for all of the points. You can tap on one side or the other side or both sides.
Okay.
So, and on this one, I just get you to parrot me.
Okay.
And I'll do a shortened version of tapping for today. So what we say here is that even though I feel this tiredness, I accept that this is the way that I feel.
I accept that this is the way that I feel.
Even though I feel this tiredness, I'm choosing to be kind and gentle with myself. Yeah. Even though I feel this tiredness, I'm willing to love and accept myself anyway. Right. And then we move to the top of the head, the crown of the head. We'll just say this. Yeah, I think you've got your headphones then, just near it. This tiredness. And then the eyebrow point, which is at the start of your eyebrow. I feel so tired. And then the side of the eye, which is on your eye socket, where your smile lines are. I just want to stay in bed. Under the eye, on the eye socket bone again. It's all mental. And then under the eye, I've been so tired this week. I really don't want to get out of bed. And then the collarbone point, which is where the knobbly bits are, just on either side of that and down a bit. This tiredness.
This tiredness.
And then under the arm where your bra strap is. I really just want to stay in bed.
I really just want to stay in bed.
And then just come back to the side of the hand. All of this tiredness.
All of this tiredness.
I just want to keep on sleeping.
I just want to keep on sleeping.
Just take a nice breath in and out. And what level would you put on that tiredness now?
Interesting. I feel a bit sleepy.
You feel a bit sleepy?
I feel a bit sleepy.
Yeah, that's good. That means that we're in the right place.
Yeah, we affirmed it. That's what it means. And probably I'll say it comes down to 6 now but although I feel a bit sleepy, do you know what I mean? It's like I'm not feeling. Yeah.
So when you feel a bit sleepy, where is that in your body, that feeling a bit sleepy?
I don't know. I can't answer that. Sorry.
That's okay. We'll just tap again.
Okay.
Even though I'm feeling a bit sleepy.
Even though I'm feeling a bit sleepy.
I accept that this is the way that it is for now.
I accept that this is the way that it is for now.
And then to the top of the head, I'm feeling a bit sleepy.
I'm feeling a bit sleepy.
I was expecting to get energized.
I was expecting to get energized.
And now I'm feeling sleepy.
And now I'm feeling sleepy.
I'm just so tired.
I'm just so tired.
I just really want to stay in bed.
I really just want to stay in bed.
I haven't got the energy.
I haven't got the energy.
It's all mental.
It's all mental.
Yeah. I'm so tired.
I'm so tired.
I'm feeling really sleepy.
I'm feeling really sleepy. Oh, no, hang on. I'm feeling really sleepy.
Just take a nice breath in and out. And what's happened with that level now?
I feel really alert now. Now I feel good. I feel like maybe I'm down to a 3 or 2.
Wow, cool.
Wow.
So we'll do one more round.
Okay.
So how does it make you feel that you're this tired?
How does it make me feel?
Mm.
Resentful, because
Yeah.
I can't take the time to do what I want to, like to have my own way, to do what I want to do, because I have all these responsibilities.
That's exactly it. So just tapping. So even though I feel really resentful, that I'm this tired, I have all of these responsibilities, and I can't do what I want to do.
and I can't do whatever I want to do.
No wonder I feel this way.
No wonder I feel this way.
It's enough to make me tired.
It's enough to make me tired.
Yeah. I feel resentful.
I feel resentful
About being tired.
about being tired.
I haven't got time to be tired.
I haven't got time to be tired.
I have all these things that I want to do.
I have all these things that I want to do.
It just wears me out.
It just wears me out,
Being tired.
being tired.
This feeling resentful.
Say that again, I didn't get it.
This feeling resentful.
This feeling resentful,
That I just want to stay in bed.
that I just want to stay in bed.
Open to the possibility of releasing this.
Open to the possibility of releasing this.
Just take another breath in and out. And what's that like for you now?
It feels okay. It feels good. It's all right. I'm okay.
What number would you put on your tiredness?
Yeah, probably about a 0 to 1. I'm okay.
That's fantastic. So that will just probably process away now.
That was so good. That was so easy.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, that's the power of it.
And it's not even complicated, as in you must use the right hand or you must use the certain fingers or whatever, right? It's just like the points of where you tap that's important. So you went to the side, you went to the crown, you went to the eyebrow, the side of the eye where the crinkles are, and this bone above the lip, below the lip. Yeah, collarbone, and then underarm. Okay, wow. I remember doing it years ago, and it felt really abusive. I was watching somebody on YouTube. I was like, oh gosh, that was awesome.
Yeah,
Oh.
it can feel a bit strange in the beginning, but then you become like me and you find yourself doing it everywhere.
Well, I'm going to remind myself always that I have this technique to use.
Yes.
Because it's interesting, because even now I feel some release on my hand, my right hand. I have inflammation in the fingers.
Right.
And I'm just feeling some release, and it's going from my shoulder down all the way
Wow.
down. So that's good. That's telling me that something's working here. There's loosening happening in my fingers, I think. Wow.
And just for you and the viewers, like, you can tap just without words, just those points. If you just sit and tap, or even you can just hold that point and take a breath in and out on the point, and that will calm your system as well. So you don't even need words some of the time.
Okay.
Just
Great. Thank you so much for that, Barb. You changed my day today. You realize that?
That's wonderful.
Thank you so much. It's
Thank
always
you,
nice to
Rose.
know. It's always nice to know that, right? Something has happened that brings about change. Well, everyone, I'm going to encourage you to contact Barb and have a session with her, or three. If you're going through any kind of trauma, any kind of stress that you feel that you need some assistance with. And remember, there's nothing wrong with this anymore. This is an absolutely normal thing to be doing with people. People needing this kind of assistance is normal. It's becoming more and more popular, for want of a better word. Barb, before we say goodbye to you, would you like to say something, or are you good?
Thank you very much, Rose. I just welcome this opportunity to be able to talk about tapping, and I just encourage everybody just to tap.
Yes.
And pass it on. Can use it for children as well. Great for children.
Great for children, because they do love doing practical things, don't they?
Yeah.
Teach
Thank
it to
you
the
so
little
much.
ones. You're very welcome, and thank you so much for sharing some of your offering with me and doing that process, because that actually leaves others to try it for themselves. Whenever they catch the video, even if it's a year from now, they will have this technique. So it's infinite. And so there you go. Well, thank you so much, Barb, for joining me today here on the Great Awakening Generator. And I am, I've already invited you back. And we'll talk about that, because I think we could do something special.
Lovely. Thanks, Rose.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I'll catch you next time here on the Great Awakening Generator. And until then, keep reaching for the stars. Goodbye.